Now, before I get to telling my story, I want to be clear about this. I'm not a woman that believes in female independence. I played that part, been down that road, and it ended in disaster for me and my family. 5 years ago, I went through a divorce. And out of that divorce, only thing I was left with was me and my dog. I'm a hairstylist. I do hair for a living. And when my husband and I separated, the judge forced us to sell everything. So I get a condo in Dallas, right off Highway 75. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever been through a divorce or a separation. You know, you have an idea of how things are going to go. But when you literally have your life torn apart and ripped apart, the person that you've been with for years is no longer there. You quickly come to the understanding and the realization how much they actually did help and the things that they actually did do. Moreover, you come to the realization about how much free time you have. So I found myself spending Saturday nights after work with my friends, going out for drinks, heading home about 10, 11 o'clock, curling up on a sofa with a blanket and watching a movie. And truthfully, every Saturday night was the same. Wash and repeat. Hang out with my girls, head home, sit on a sofa, and watch a movie. Now, let me say this to you women who are thinking about going through a divorce. Men, they sacrifice their lives for their family's happiness. Looking back on it now, I realize that I sacrificed my family for what I thought was happiness, and I'm not happy. And I haven't been since the divorce. But this story is not about my life and about my divorce. This story is about what happened before I moved out of that condo. It's October 2023. My friends and I come back from going out to dinner. I head inside, pop a bag of popcorn, take a shower, sit on the sofa, have popcorn and wine. I'm relaxing my nerves when there's a knock at the door. I get up, walk over and look through and nobody's there. So I sit back down. 5 minutes later, there's another knock at the door, except for this time it's much harder. So I get back up, go over, open the door, and no one's out there. 5 more minutes pass, and I'm standing in the kitchen next to the microwave, waiting for a bag of popcorn to finish popping, when there's a banging sound on my front door. Now pause right here and let me say this. These condos that I live in are very expensive. This is not a place that you rent. This is a place where people purchase and live. And so in my mind, it's somebody drunk knocking on the wrong door. But when I walk over and swing the front door open, before me stands 2 little boys. I would say no more than 10, 11 years old. They both have their head down. And the weirdest thing about these boys is I can't quite remember what the ethnicity was. Their skin wasn't black, it wasn't white, just this kind of tannish color. Their hair wasn't curly, wasn't too straight. It was like everything about them was a perfect blend, the perfect amalgamation of what a kid should look like. I remember the anger draining out of my body and me looking at them and saying, "Hey, are you guys okay? Have you lost your parents?" And them not responding and not looking up. Then I remember the sense of panic coming over me. Like something's wrong with these kids. Somebody's missing their children. Maybe it was the fact that in the divorce I had lost my children. And that sense of panic and urgency was personified because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking if my kids were out and about and lost, I would want somebody to help them. But then these 2 guys look up at me and they have these black eyes. And I'm not talking about like black eyeballs. I'm talking about black voids for eyes. Like you can stick your finger inside of these things for eyes. And right there in that moment, looking in their eyes, I started to black out. And that's the best way I can describe it to you. It was like I started falling forward into them, and I can't tell you if they killed me and God brought me back. I can't tell you if this was a trance or a hallucination. I cannot determine what this was. But I was someplace else, and it was full of darkness, and there was all this screaming, all these voices, people calling my name, people sounding like they were being tortured. And then there was this light. But the problem with this light was, as it shined on me, it didn't make me feel safe. It seemed like this light itself was fake, like it was false light. I felt like one of those moths or bugs going towards one of those bug traps where there's this bright light, and as soon as you get close to it, you get zapped, zzz, and you're dead. That's what I felt like. And I remember turning and running as fast as I could away from that light, screaming at the top of my lungs. Now, I can't tell you how long I was in this place, but what I can tell you is this. When I finally came through, I was still standing there at my front door, and no one was standing in front of me. And my neighbor up the hall looks at me and she says, "Karen, why are you outside in the hallway screaming like someone's chasing you?" Are you listening to me? Do you understand? As I'm looking around, these kids are nowhere to be found. Talk about being messed up. I close the door, lock it, go inside, sit on the sofa, and try to figure out what the hell happened to me. And since that day, I haven't been able to figure it out. So I decided to present it to you.